over to you, Prince, for your final case study.
Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Prince. So my case study is just overview for me. I'll be going through a issue that I like to validate a problem. The format of the presentation will be how I validate the problem, how I validate the offer market fit, then going into more strategic planning, alignment for the success of the product, and then the next steps I'll be taking in order to get this prototype out to beta testers. So the problem I decided to validate is it's difficult to remember key action points from a meeting for product managers. So this took a couple of iterations when I started looking at this problem. I thought for reference, I show what I had before, and with the help of Henry, with yourself, we made this a little bit more concise of the problem we want to do. When thinking about this problem, I understood that it affects a wide spectrum of people, but I really want to zoom into a particular niche. So I chose product managers. And one of the reasons I chose product managers is one, and this problem, one is personally, I understand that from a meeting, you have to do quite a few things where you have to interact with internal, external individuals, capture key information, interact during that meeting, which can be extremely difficult. On numerous occasions, I've had times where I've asked colleagues, oh, what did that person say? Or people have asked me, oh, do you remember what that person said? So I know it's a known problem personally as well, and with others. The second reason I chose product managers, because I know the responsibility of a product manager, they usually lead these meetings. So what they have to do is they have to explain, understand, and capture these key points. So this tied very nicely with the problem that I'm trying to validate. Okay. So my first objective was to achieve problem market fit by validating that remembering key action points from meetings is a real and acute problem. Oh, sorry. In order to validate this, I conducted a series of interviews with my niche, and this is really helpful. So from these interviews, what I could understand is, if this is a acute problem, should I continue with it at really early stages, or should I pivot on something else? And this is very important, because if this wasn't an acute problem, I can save a lot of time, money, and resource for myself and for the business. So the very vital part in the discovery. The cause are interesting. At some points, I really had to drill deep into understanding the acute problem for some people. But also, I was lucky to interview product managers with different levels of experience, which really helped me understand if this was a problem, and a fundamental problem for different levels of experience with product managers, which I thought was really beneficial for me. So after speaking to my niche, I analyzed these qualitative conversations into objectives in a qualified way, and highlighted common problems to understand if these are acute problems. So I've listed, so as you can see here, I've had the interviews, I've grouped them together as key frustrations, and this is the frustrations that came out of my meetings, my interviews. So a few just to explain. One was the lack of confidence and looking unprofessional. The interviews said that if they don't feel in control of the meeting, they've got so many things to do, this is the frustration they have. There's always a lack of support or resource. So ideally for them, they would like to have someone in the meeting with them taking notes. But this actually showed another interesting point. One of the interviews made is that what they think is a key action point may be something different to the person taking the notes. So there is always a matter of opinion that needs to be looked at. It's very time consuming to do this. So interesting enough, I asked one of the questions is, have they tried to resolve this problem before? And a lot of them said they had, but the methods were not really effective. So they would record the meetings, look at the transcripts, and try to write summaries after, which wasn't useful. And interesting enough, there is products out there already, which I'll speak about further down in this presentation, which are out there, but they're not as useful for this acute problem. Okay, so from there, what I did was I took all the frustrations and I turned those into opportunities. So what I did was I took those frustrations, made them into more concise opportunities to build my minimal viable offer. So this was a nice experience for me, actually. It's the first time I did this, but I could, from this board, see how the discovery calls evolved by just talking to individuals, looking at the common frustrations, converting those into opportunities, and then packaging them into a minimal viable statement to show what offer we can provide to the customer, and then build out these product visions and these product strategies. So my minimal viable offer that we want to offer is we help product managers to confidently run effective, engaging meetings through effortless live capture and sharing of key meeting information. Okay, so I just want to actually add that this actually took a couple of iterations with the help of Henry. We tried to make this as concise as possible, but this exercise really helped build this out, and it kind of made it a little bit easier by doing these previous exercises. Okay, the next sorry. So yep, so the next thing I wanted to do is actually do some strategic planning to ensure the alignment of the long-term success of this product. So after I got my product market after I got my, sorry, I know I skipped this screen. Sorry, number two. Sorry, I skipped one. Sorry. So the next thing I did was objective 2 was to validate the offer market fit. I did a couple of things for this. The first thing I did was I completed a product story canvas. Now this was actually very interesting for me. I know of it, but it's the first time I did it. Now this was really helpful because it's the first time I got to see a little bit a zoomed out view of the problem I'm trying to validate. What I did get to see here is I try to understand and see who the hero is and how we're going to achieve this, and more importantly, who the villain is. So what the acute problem is and we're trying to resolve here. Okay, and the other thing I did was I created a MVO sign up page and a survey. This is done a couple of iterations for this. I created this and I posted this out to my product management LinkedIn groups. Unfortunately, I didn't get a high response, not anything at all. Honestly, it was a bit discouraging, but I understand this is part of the experience. But speaking to you, Henry, I know this is something that this needs time, needs iterations. But what I did do is, because I didn't get a response the first time, I did go back to one of my niches. I showed them this and try to get some feedback. And one of the feedback I got was, this was a bit too wordy, a bit too much on the MVO. So I did make another iteration. And I know this part I understand is very important. You have to go back and forth, keep getting feedback, keep improving it in order to get the right statement in front of the potential users. Okay, and then also and the third thing I did was I done a blue ocean strategy canvas. So in the past, I have done competitive analysis, but never done a blue ocean canvas. This was very interesting for me. It gave me a good view of what my USP should be. And for me, as you can see from this, looking at this, the things I can really offer with this product is things like live capture, accuracy of meeting, and quality summary. So this is something that the other products that are in the market can't offer at the moment, which is really good. And I think doing this in other exercises, it was good to see what the differences are, but this really helped make it a bit more obvious for me. So that was really good. But one thing I did learn from this exercise is don't always look at direct competitors. You need to actually go outside the box. So I think a really good point that was made out to me by yourself, Henry, was look at something very simple. So one of the competitors I looked at is a simple pen and paper, how notes are taken from there. So that is part of the blue ocean strategy that I did. Okay, going to the next one. Now we're going to objective 3. So the next objective is looking at strategic planning alignment for long-term success of the product. So this actually started off with a group exercise where we did a 10 by 10 exercise, where we would have a certain amount of time and we would write out quick solutions for the acute problem that I'm trying to resolve. So that was one of the key things that we had to do as a fundamental. Yes, that's one of the key things I do from fundamental things. So from the previous work, now it was time to actually define the solution and the business model that we really want to understand, the feasibility and to turning these opportunities into solutions for real business opportunities we want to commit to. So one thing I did, so from this, I took out the key things we want to achieve by looking at impact versus effort to build out a strategic roadmap. Now, this was a bit difficult for me because whenever I think of roadmaps, usually it's about feature sets and so forth. So I had to come out that mind frame that it's not features. What we're trying to focus on is the outcomes. The features could change as we test, but what we're trying to do is look at the end goal. So for me, the end goal in my strategic roadmap is capturing and sharing of key information. What I mean by that is, although the features, so when I say we're not looking at features, looking at outcomes, what I mean by that is that the features could change as we're testing, but the objectives and the key outputs and metrics will not change. And that's what we'll be focused on. Okay. And another thing I did was I created a lean canvas. Again, really new to me, these things, heard of them, but never did those. The lean canvas is something new for me. It was interesting for me because for me, it gave me like a 360 view of a business understanding for what we're trying to do. For example, when I think about validating this MVO, I looked at, I've already done the comparative analysis, what the alternatives are out there, looked at cost structure to see how this would be when we're building it, looking at revenue streams, how we would actually charge a customer in what steps, and looking at very small things of who my early adopters will be, who is my core segmentation, and then, where would my key channels be in order to promote this product. So overall, I think the previous steps I did here to validate the offer is very important. Need to get this right. But this is very important because after this is going to determine what we put in front of the customers and how we do that. So this was very very valuable for me. Very new learnings for me. I did struggle a bit, but it's a really nice experience. And finally, for me, the next steps which I need to do is actually need to validate the prototype. I have started, what we were doing is I've started a customer journey map, which really goes through what the customers will experience when they're going through our product. Build wireframes from this. Something I've done already, which is like the crazy 8 to really show what the value is, what we're trying to do, and show to our customers. And then I did another exercise here where I try to understand exactly what we're trying to achieve from this prototype. So for me, it's to actually validate if accurate key information is valuable for our users. So for me, I wanted to go with the approach of I know there's products out there already. I don't want to be building something by code straight away. So I wanted to build something that is something like the front end product, but in design form. So I'll be using Figma to do that. And then the next steps are to actually test a prototype and achieve the product market fit score by onboarding beta testers. Okay, And then the final slide is just a bit summary about me. So my one is a passionate product manager with 10 years hands-on experience building products with customer-centric product strategy and effective leadership focus.
Awesome.
That's it.
Nice. Good, Prince. Good presentation. I'm going to go through just quick fire feedback on the case study, and then we'll
Sure.
slow down and talk about some sort of like general observations and next steps. Do you want to try and follow along if you can? If you just go back to the
Yep, that's from the beginning. Yep.
Awesome. So first thing, I thought you started lacking confidence. You said sort of my case study and then trailed off a bit. You got into it really quickly, like lines in. It was style was good. I thought you were very clear, tone was good, it was engaging. But remember that first impression. Every situation, first impression, so important. Easy action to take, something that I do, just practice the first 2 lines. Right, even like it's when I do a workshop that I've done like 20 times, I will still practice the first few lines, first 2 slides before I start this session. Just, get into the flow, so you know exactly what you can, and then it all flows quite naturally. So that's a good tip for you. Yeah, so tone generally good. I think you could, to lift this a level, do vary your tone. So again, you were engaging, it was good. To get it to great, things like, okay, talk about, when you introduce problem statement or the product discovery, tone of voice, what should that be? It should be curious. It's like, oh, surprise, talking about some of the surprises you had, product vision, strategy, sort of excitement, showing that here's this really exciting opportunity. Just going to lift it up a level. On the discovery, I thought that was great. You highlighted some examples. I thought it was great. You also talked about the Miro board. It's really easy to just brush over and just add screenshots and people are like, what the hell is that? You did it perfectly, very briefly, just, and here's all these notes we gathered and how we sort of aggregated them into themes. Full stop. Exactly as you did. I thought it was very good. I thought also on this first objective, there was what I call a very good bridge. So very clear logic about what was before and why you're now focusing on this objective. Right? Essentially, we took these frustrations and we wanted to turn them into opportunities. You're helping the listener connect the dots. So like, oh, okay, I get why we've got this objective and Prince is talking about these things. And secondly, it's helping you actually sell the value of product discovery to stakeholders. You're showing that you learned and evolved ideas in a really concrete way. On these sorry, say again.
I personally love this exercise because I've never done it like this before, and there's always different documents, and this is it just flowed, and to me it made me understand the whole process. And
stakeholders.
And I didn't have to kind of narrate this so much as the other things because I just had to read what I did and how I did it. So really like this Miro board. Really like this one.
Yeah, it's super powerful. And again, it's just high impact, low effort, really. On the second objective, this is I think a really good, valuable learning for you. The bit where you got a little bit lost, you sort of skip forward.
Yes.
Or forget about it within 5 seconds. So never sort of stress or panic. Like you got back into it, forgotten about. People with presentation think it's like the end of the world. Again, I just noted it down because I think it's good for you to remember that kind of thing happened.
Okay. Did I stress or panic there?
No, you're fine. You got back into it. But just if you were worried about it, forgotten about it. MVO sign up page. Okay, this was, I thought, the weaker part of the presentation. So it was clear you talked about what the MVO sign up page was, that you got conversion. If I was a stakeholder and I didn't run this bootcamp, I would not know why you were doing this. Okay, it wasn't clear to me. Simple terms. What is the MVO? What are we trying to learn here? You talk about conversion. I'm like, what does he mean? Like, what is conversion there? So really, you could say, so next thing we wanted to do is we had a clear idea of our product strategy. We wanted to just package it, put it on a landing page in a simple statement and see, like, are people interested? Would they actually sign up to this thing? Really, 1, 2 lines. Again, just assume they will know nothing about this stuff, particularly something like
I can't believe I missed that.
Blue Ocean. You actually did a really good job of talking about. You showed the gap in the market. You said, here's what the competitors are doing. Here's what we're not. But again, start introduction of Blue Ocean with one simple sentence. What is it and why do we use it? So,
Mhm.
what is the Blue Ocean? Next, we wanted to just see what's the competition doing well and where do we see a gap in the market? And then you go into the examples themselves.
Right.
I thought it was great you mentioned indirect competitors. Again, that was great. Add some nice color to the story. But it felt like me, they would just be lost because they weren't clear, like, what is this and why, why the hell is
Okay.
Prince about this thing, essentially.
Ah, yes. Good point. Yeah.
Another small tip, break your slides up. People can't concentrate on lots of new things.
Uh,
Here you've got
yes.
3 completely different frameworks. It's going to be quite overwhelming and therefore they're going to disengage. So my suggestion,
Okay.
break it down, just slide per image.
Funny enough, they were broken down, and I thought I'd make it a bit more concise so I can read the story better. But that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah, I'd kind of done a couple of iterations, but yeah,
You're just adding an extra click, but
yeah, yeah.
if anything, it helps you focus on the thing that's on the screen at one time.
Yeah.
On the third objective, you you didn't bridge this very well, so it wasn't really clear. You sort of came onto the
Yeah.
slide and I was like, okay, why is he talking about solution ideas? I don't think I would have been clear about, like, how have we gone from objective 2 to this one, to that,
Mm.
connecting the dots. You did do this at the end though. You talked about you said, and then we wanted to be clear on the what and the how. What are we delivering and
Yes.
how are we delivering it? That was great. Just put it at the beginning. Lean
Okay.
Canvas, good. You did do that in this case. You said, Lean Canvas, great way of giving us a 360 view of this as a business. However, one thing to improve upon, give examples. You mentioned, it helped us map out our revenue model. And I'm like, okay, well, like, what was it? What were the ideas you had?
Oh, okay.
Why is
Yes.
that really important? Because you want to put on your business hat, right?
Mm.
I understand strategy, I understand unfair advantage, right? Defensive moats, that's our sort of long-term defense. I understand revenue, I understand costs. So I'm a business person, not just the user hat. So that's always really important to try and demonstrate, obviously depending on who you're presenting to. And then final thing on the prototype, yeah, good. I see the logic behind doing a high fidelity. I wonder whether you could be more disciplined though and just be exclusively focused on feasibility to start. I'm just thinking of the competition. It's like, why, unless we definitely know we can integrate with another audio analysis tool that's super high
Mhm.
quality, my question would be, why, can we do this better than the competition, this analysis and learning? I'm not sure. Good. And then just zooming out, Prince, so sort of observation, next steps, and then I'll get your views on this as well. So I think there's 3 things to look at moving forward. The first thing is, covering gaps. I can tell by how you explain, or lack of explanation on some of the frameworks, that there's a lack of confidence and basically lack of experience with some of these frameworks.
Yeah.
Completely understandable, right? You had a funeral, you've had a busy job, missed out on a few things, but just go back over these as they
Yes.
work. That's how you get confidence, how it becomes really simple to explain, Lean Canvas, Blue Ocean, etc. So I think go back and cover those gaps. You've got access to this stuff
Mhm.
forever.
Brilliant.
Second thing, someone like yourself that works with a lot of different stakeholders, different projects, you've got a really good opportunity to master stakeholder management, because you're getting
Mhm.
lots of petitions. So, try to go back to these storytelling frameworks, revisit this case study format. What I talked about being clear on, like, what are we talking about and why, why is this framework helpful for us to make decision? I would say really go deep on storytelling and communicating concepts. I think you've got a great opportunity to be, top in the game on that, because you've got so many, you will get so many repetitions. Um,
Yep.
And then final thing, I think just strengthen existing skills, again, come back to this playbook rather than trying to learn lots of new stuff. I think,
Yep.
product strategy is a really good example here. I liked your product strategy. I completely understand this thing of sort of, hey, yeah, we understand other tools provide info, but not key info.
Mhm.
However, it felt a little bit weak on stuff like, okay, well, firstly, is this unique enough to be better than Otter, Firefly, all these other meeting analysis tools. And second thing, I felt execution was always overlooked here. I'm thinking, well, why aren't these other competitors doing it? Because that's sort of what they want to try and do. There's probably a good reason for that. There might not be, but I wanted that question addressed rather than just it being brushed over a little bit. So,
Yes.
product strategy is an advanced product skill, but you've got a good foundation. I can tell you understand it well. Now it's just about getting better at it, quite simply. Any thoughts from your side about sort of next steps or things you wanna focus on?
No, I think you covered it really. I've some of this stuff is really new. I've heard of it, but I think it does require more practice from my end. I think it took me a little bit longer trying to understand these things. So when we was doing the workshops, um, I think I could see the experience of the other product managers that they have gone through it, and they kind of grasp me quicker and get the understanding. For me, I think even before we started the course, I said like I've got a bit of hands-on practical experience, but I have a lot of gaps. And this course and doing this workshop and definitely in the case study, it kind of strengthened that view that yes, there are gaps,
Mhm.
but now I know what different areas to focus on. So I think you're right. Just need to do some practicing. One of the ways I'm thinking of doing that is kind of going through this exercise with the work I'm doing right now, with my work, literally from beginning to end. Um, and then I think, for me, just doing another case study um, wouldn't be so beneficial by actually doing it with what I'm working on at the moment, because then I will have to get into more of the mindful of users. I will have to understand the business, and I know some of the answers already with the cost structure and revenue model. So that part will be predetermined and done, but the other areas I will have to think about.
Yeah. I think that's
So
the
for
best.
me,
I was thinking like, we could identify specific things to go back to, but to be honest, best way to do it is take the whole thing and just exactly as you said, apply it at
yeah,
work, do step by step. Even discovery, even if you've worked on a product for 5 years, there will be surprises, there'll be missed opportunities there. So it's always
yeah,
really valuable to do that. So I think that is the next step. Go through it all, because then what are you doing? You're filling the gaps plus strengthening
yeah.
existing skills
So
there.
I don't think a lot of companies have simple products problem statements or anything like that,
No,
or
no, no.
even thought about it. And
Yeah. And
yeah,
also, what does it also do? It's going to help you with your storytelling, because you have to communicate, the importance of these things, right, to your stakeholders. Good.
yeah,
Awesome. Right. Well, I think that's a really simple next step. Let's go put this into practice now.
brilliant,
Awesome. Well, look,
brilliant.
it's been honestly a pleasure having you on the cohort. Always a good energy within the workshops. And yeah, I think just I always say reach out, any questions, any help you want, reach out, let me know
Yeah,
how things are going. If you want any
yeah.
advice, like applying a framework, setting up a workshop, that kind of thing, don't hesitate to just email me or send us that message as well.
I will do, definitely. I think while it's still fresh in my mind, I actually want to start this maybe with a less time constraint, so I can really start thinking through like some of the discovery stuff. I understood that it requires a lot of iteration, things like that. And when we was doing the actual
Yeah. It should take longer
when we
than
was
8 weeks cramming it part
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
When I didn't get the reply from the sign up page, I know you and I spoke and we said, well, that's okay, let's just move on. But really it requires iteration. So I did try to get
Yeah.
that time and speak to a niche and say, look, what do you think of this sign up page? And got the feedback, try to reiterate it, but didn't have enough time to just
Yeah.
put it.
I mean, that is the one big limitation, right, of our format is we don't have time to do that, which is essential. You're going back
But
iterating.
yeah, I think it was more important that kind of, like you said to me, it's like, it's all right, let's just get to the next stage.
Mm.
So understand the whole journey of doing this. And then obviously, like you said, now just need to go back and fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy with. I think it was brilliant. I think like I said in the beginning, I was always open to feedback and took it on, tried to change as much as possible. Because yeah, I know there's gaps, but I'm definitely willing to fill those gaps as soon as possible, keep practicing on those, and yeah, become that product leader.
Nice. Yeah, well, just keep working well. I think you will get there with this playbook. Awesome.
Brilliant.
Right, I have to hop off, Prince, but we'll yeah, do reach out. Reach out in a couple of months. Let me know how you're going with everything, and then, as I said,
Will
super
do.
happy to sort of offer some advice and next
Ah,
steps.
brilliant. And Henry, thank you so much for your help. It's been a really good course. Really
Awesome.
learned a lot. Really learned a lot. So yeah, really appreciate it.
That's always good to know. It means we're doing the job properly at least.
Absolutely.
Cheers, Vince.
Brilliant.
We'll stay in touch.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.